Hi, my name is Chris Dagny, Senior System Engineer for Brocade. Today we're going to cover the VDX switches, which are built on the VCS Virtual Cluster Switching Ethernet Fabric technology for building future networks.
So who is Brocade? Started in 1995. We're in 90% of the Global 1000, 90% of the global service providers. We actually have 74% market share in the SAN environment. So that's where we built our business on. So about 7 years ago, we bought a company called Foundry, and we took the Foundry engineers, the Ethernet engineers that developed all the first 1 gig and things like that, and we mixed them in with our fiber channel experts, and we built what is called the Ethernet Fabric. We were the first one to the market with Ethernet Fabric, and that VDX product that was released is where we're going to be talking about today, and that allowed us to become number 2 in the data center. And you'll see here that, not only are we number 2 in the data center, but our service, we've been recognized by JD Power and for outstanding customer service, and we've won some technology associated excellence awards. So a lot of you have been hearing about, the networks are changing. Network engineers are having to relearn new careers around software networking. And the reason why is we're going towards the new IP. New IP is the third platform here. So originally, about 30 years ago, was the first platform where we had millions of users and like thousands of apps, your mainframe connectivity. Then for the last 20 years, we were on the second platform, hundreds of millions of users and tens of thousands of apps. And with all the new technology increases, the social media, then the way that data centers are being tasked, the networks just can't handle it that way with the 3-layer architecture. So we've came out with a third platform, and we'll be transforming the networks so that, what does that really mean? You got to have an automated and virtualized network, virtualized firewalls, virtualized appliances. They got to be open, not closed, programmable with Puppet, things like that. The end user doesn't care what the network does. They want a seamless experience. They want to be able to have, the networks have to have application interaction. You got to be able to spin up networks quicker, faster, and they got to be able to scale. So Brocade developed that VCS, Virtual Cluster Switching Ethernet Fabric, to really make the network automated and simplified. So we're talking about similar to a chassis-based network, but you can have up to 48 switches in a network. So think of a top-of-rack switch that you can just, if you need more ports, you just literally add the switch, plug in the cables, you're good to go. You need more ports, plug in more switches. Non-disruptly, not having to take the network down to add in a switch. You can logically collapse the network so you can build them any which way, however, spine, leaf, collapse backbone, however your network, your application required. Like I say, you can manage up to 48 of these as a single switch. So you log into one VDX and you can see your entire network. It automatically discovers every MAC address that is plugged into every port, so you can get full visibility to the network, and it allows automatic migration of port profiles. What that means is it's fully integrated with VMware, so when you create a VM, all the settings that you set up for that MAC address automatically move when you move that VM throughout your network. So the Brocade VCS Fabric really auto-heals your network. So in case you lose a switch, it automatically reroutes that traffic. You don't have to worry about setting up OSPF or BGP. You don't have to be a protocol expert. You can plug the switches in. They'll learn the fastest path. You don't have to worry about setting up STP or losing one of your ports as a backup. You have active resiliency and load balancing across all the ports. It learns the fastest way to get there. And if you have a IP storage network or a fiber channel network, you can integrate that with these products. So you can run iSCSI, NAS, FCOE protocols. Us being the fiber channel leaders, we actually incorporate, those technologies that we've learned into the Ethernet network. We're trying to bring that low latency, lossless convergence 2.0 network to your data center. So like I say, and if your network goes down, you add that switch back up, it automatically relearns the path. So how hard are these to set up? So let's set up a simple 3-node network. So you literally turn on the switches, configure the root bridge IDs, connect the cables, and you're on to the next project. Very easy. Where competitive products, say brand C, you got to create the port channels, you got to activate the VPCs, you got to activate fabric path. Take you up to 114 steps to configure that. So can you see that there might be an error? And that's why if you're building these new networks, you want them to be automated. So when you start making that transition to SDN, that your networks are ready for that technology. So the VCS differentiator is the automatic fabric creation expansion. So if you add a switch or you need to create a trunk to increase your bandwidth, in a traditional network, you're literally having to run, just to take a cable, plug it in, get the trunk to increase it from 30 gigs to 60 gigs, or even adding a switch. Just for 2 members, it can take up to 30 commands. With Brocade and configuring inter-switch linking for up to 8 links, there's absolutely no commands. My 3-year-old can actually go out there and plug the cables in, and if you have a 40 gig link and you needed 60, you just literally plug the cables in. No configuration. Another benefit in a traditional link, after you set up those, there's a hashing algorithm that causes imbalances. So if you have an application that might want to run over one of the links, all of a sudden one of your links gets saturated and you're not utilizing the links properly. With Brocade and their ISLs, their virtual link aggregation and trunking, you create balanced connection with no hashing algorithms. So every packet goes over every link equally, no saturation, equal cost across the links. So if you've got VMware in your network and you set up a sample ESX server, network admin comes in, sets up a new network, new ESX toast. They move one of those VMs over to the other network. All of a sudden, nobody can get to your network. Exchange is down because all the settings that were set up on your switch that were configured for that MAC address are all lost. Well, in an Ethernet fabric and with Brocade's tight integration with VMware, you're literally typing the IP address, the username and password to your vCenter, and when you create that MAC address, all your quality of service, your VLANs, security are tied to that MAC address. And so when you move it, the entire network is aware of that network. It also cut down on your broadcast storms, so you don't have to worry about traffic just to find out what a MAC address is where. Like I say, up to 48 switches in your network can be tied to one VCS fabric. So you create VCS fabric 1, and then every switch is on a different root bridge, and it's aware of every MAC address on every switch. Most people are using VMware, and like I say, we have a really close, tight relationship with VMware, and you literally type in the IP address, the username and password, and we have vRealize, so you can create comprehensive analytics for your software-defined data center. You get visibility all the way down to the VM performance connected to your network. You can create predefined alerts, create recommended actions using vRealize, and the switch will make those actions. With vRealize Log Insight, you can eliminate noise and, be alerted to critical alerts. And it also has built-in fiber channel and IP fabric best practices. So we've taken our 20 years of experience in fiber channel, built those critical alerts for your network, and allows you to build the best practices for your network. And NSX, virtualizing the gateway, we can create VXLAN gateways with a click of a button. Our VDX can be your gateway for an NSX. That's what I'm talking about with SDN and redefining the network. You have to connect remote data centers, and the NSX is one of those products that will do that. And it creates high performance across the bridging, across the VCS fabric. So the Brocade VCS virtual clustering switching Ethernet fabric is built for the new IP, the new application requirements. We're making it really simple to set up a network with all the automation, few clicks. You can actually have a network up and running. You lose a link, it'll automatically reroute your traffic, no having to learn the protocols. And the VMware integration to be able to move port profiles that are tied to a MAC address, all your security settings to move throughout the network with a simple click of a button.
Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more, contact your Brocade team here at Tech Data.